From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. A pair of BC First Nations are suing Ottawa and fish farm companies in an effort to overturn a decision allowing the farms to continue operating for another 5 years. Separate federal court applications have been made saying the move infringes on their Aboriginal rights. The Fisheries Department had been phasing out the fish farms, but last month Canada's Fisheries Minister extended licenses for another 5 years for Grieg Seafood and Maui Canada to continue to run 14 farms. Wildfire officials say the evacuation alerts for a BC community and a nearby park have been lifted. Beauron Lake Provincial Park and the tourist gold mining town of Barkerville had previously been on an evacuation order before being upgraded last week to the alert. Now, despite the update, the 42 square kilometer Antler Creek wildfire in the central interior is still burning out of control. That blaze is classified as one of the province's 6 wildfires of note. The president and CEO of Parks Canada says his agency and its partners did everything they reasonably could to prevent the destruction of Jasper, Alberta. Ron Hallman says any accusations that his organization puts a higher value on nature than people are offensive. Critics have been pointing the finger of blame at the federal agency, saying more could have been done to reduce the fire hazard in the area, including prescribed burns that should have been used to thin out forests thick with highly flammable dead trees. The drone spying scandal involving Canada's women's soccer team is headed to a special Olympic court.
Canada Soccer and the Canadian Olympic Committee appealed FIFA's point deduction against the women's team yesterday. The case is set to appear before the Court of Arbitration for Sport's Special Olympic Court in Paris in a closed-door hearing. A ruling is expected tomorrow before Canada's final group stage game against Colombia in Nice. FIFA docked 6 points from the women's team after a team analyst was caught using a drone to spy on New Zealand's practices before the start of competition. Jason White, The Canadian Press.
Closing arguments are set to begin today in the trial of 2 men accused of plotting to kill police officers during the 2022 Coutts, Alberta border blockade. Anthony Olenek and Chris Carbert were charged after a cache of guns, body armor, and ammunition was found in trailers at Coutts. Olenek's lawyer told the trial that her client believed people in Coutts were afraid of being attacked by the RCMP, and Carbert testified he had no knowledge of a conspiracy and some inflammatory things he said were just a dumb mistake. And finally, Postmedia's acquisition of Atlantic Canada's largest newspaper chain is likely to lead to job cuts and diminished local news coverage, with one media industry expert warning that the purchase of the Saltwire Network and the Halifax Herald will follow a Postmedia pattern of cost-cutting measures seen in the past. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, a pair of Canadian women have climbed atop the Olympic podium in Paris. Star swimmer Summer McIntosh won the 400-meter individual medley hours after Krista Deguchi won the under 57-kilogram judo event. Canada also grabbed a men's diving bronze earlier in the day when Nathan Zomber-Murray and Rylan Weens finished third in the 10-meter synchronized platform. Meanwhile, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles split a Monday doubleheader, the O's taking the first game by a score of 11-5, while the Jays flipped the script in the second contest, winning 8-4. The Jays also made a move, sending 33-year-old left-handed pitcher Yusei Kikuchi to the Houston Astros. That was in exchange for a package that includes Houston's 23-year-old rookie right-hander Jake Bloss. And the Minnesota Wild have inked defenseman Brock Faber to an 8-year contract extension worth $68 million U.S. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.